The most shocking part isn't that Meghan and Harry keep showing up on TV, it's how they keep turning every camera into a public self-own, like embarrassment is their brand and the red light is their trigger. One minute it's privacy, the next minute it's another performance, another staged moment, another awkward pause that screams, why did you say that? Because let's be real, some celebrities have bad interviews. Some have cringy moments. But these two, they collect awkwardness like trophies. And the mess isn't accidental. It's the pattern. A storyline gets pushed, the delivery slips, and suddenly the mask falls for just long enough that the whole world sees the wires behind the puppet show. Take that perfect mother image, polished, scripted, angelic. Meghan starts telling a totally normal bedtime story, and then she has to add a dramatic extra layer, like every detail needs to sound cinematic. She claims she records herself reading stories when she travels so the kids can watch her later. Sweet, right? Except then the sentence stumbles. Just one tiny slip, and suddenly we hear the truth trying to escape. The maids put the kids to bed, and then she panics and tries to patch it with Papa is with them. That is the sound of someone editing the narrative in real time. And the second that happens, the audience doesn't just hear the words, they hear the cover-up, because nobody cares if you have help. What makes people cringe is the desperate need to pretend you don't, as if admitting a nanny exists would shatter the whole brand. It's not the bedtime story that's embarrassing, it's the sudden scramble to protect the fantasy.
Make it a point when I'm traveling, if I can't do bedtime stories with my kids, because Archie and Lily are just 3 and 5, so I'll always pack a really thin book and I'll videotape myself reading it, so whoever's with them, Papa can say, here's Mama reading your bedtime story. You find ways to show up for each other.
And from there, it only gets worse, because right after the oops, the cameras keep rolling and the contradictions keep stacking. Remember when they dramatically exited royal duties in 2020 and the world was told they weren't going to use the titles like a business card anymore? That was the big promise. No royal perks, no royal branding, fresh start. But then a podcast host reveals Meghan sent a gift basket, and inside is a card signed Herch, the Duchess of Sussex. Not subtle, not accidental. That's the exact thing you said you wouldn't do, wrapped up with a bow. And this is where the public side eye becomes volcanic, because it screams they don't want the responsibilities, they want the privileges. They want the royal shine without the royal grind, the sparkle without the service, the crown adjacent status without the crown rules.
Drop something off.
All of a sudden, you dropped off this gift basket with ice creams, homemade strawberry sauce to put on top of the ice cream, just to see if that helps lighten my load.
Now let's talk about the moment that made people physically recoil from secondhand embarrassment, Meghan on Allen. Because this wasn't light fun. This was the kind of cringe that sticks to your brain. Hidden camera pranks, public squatting, drinking from a baby bottle, shouting weird phrases at strangers like a dare you regret the second you do it, except this one was broadcast to millions. And here's why viewers didn't just laugh, it felt off. This is the same person who positioned herself as deeply serious, mistreated, traumatized, someone who wanted the world to understand the pain. But then, when it's time to act ridiculous on command for daytime TV, suddenly there's no hesitation, no dignity to protect, no I'm above this. It's like the whole persona flips depending on what benefits the moment.
I'm a kitten.
I'm a kitten, mew, mew, mew.
You're a kitten.
You're a kitten, mew, mew, mew.
Kwame, you sing it too.
I'm a mew, mew, mew. Goodness.
Okay, now drink it. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next.
And the whiplash doesn't end there, because right after that, you get another clip that makes the audience stare at the screen like, wait, so which version is real?
Bounce up and down, you're very excited. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Eat it like a little chipmunk.
Because when the cameras love you, seriousness can vanish instantly. And that's exactly the vibe the public picks up. Not authenticity, performance. Then comes the glossy, festive Netflix moment, meant to be warm, cozy, relatable. The kind of look, we're just like you. Content that's designed to soften their image. But instead of charming, it lands staged. Meghan explains Christmas crackers like she invented them. Then reveals she put love letters inside Harry's crackers like it's some revolutionary twist. And people are sitting there thinking, this is a craft children do at school, why is it being delivered like a TED Talk? That's the pattern again, the overselling. The relentless need to turn basic things into iconic moments. And when you push that hard, the audience doesn't lean in, they lean back. Because nothing feels natural, nothing feels spontaneous, and the harder you try to control how relatable you look, the less relatable you become. And notice the detail that keeps popping up like a warning light. Even Harry sometimes looks uncomfortable, like he's watching the same awkward scene we're watching, except he's trapped inside it. But the real turning point, the moment where embarrassing stops being funny and becomes something much darker, is when the cameras aren't just capturing cringe, they're capturing claims that detonate relationships. Because once you step into the arena of explosive allegations on the biggest platforms, you're not just risking a meme, you're risking permanent damage. Meghan makes claims about suicidal thoughts during pregnancy and says the royal family refused to help her, and the entire world watches Harry nodding beside her, backing the narrative in real time. Then there are claims about conversations regarding their child's skin tone, delivered in a way that leaves a cloud over the family that doesn't just disappear. And here's what made it so controversial. It wasn't framed like confusion or misunderstanding, it was framed like indictment. And once you do that on television, you can't pretend it's just family drama. That's reputation damage on a global scale. From there, the awkwardness grows teeth because people start revisiting older appearances with new eyes. The post-engagement interview gets relabeled as rehearsed. The body language gets picked apart, Meghan gripping Harry, Harry looking fixed in place, the whole thing reading like a polished pitch instead of a love story. And once the public decides something feels orchestrated, every smile starts looking like a pose. Every cute moment starts sounding like a line. Every spontaneous laugh starts filling time. That's where the embarrassment gets even more brutal. The Diana obsession accusations, Harry's oversharing on live TV, the frostbite royal jewels moment, the taxpayer security complaints, the curtsy mockery, and the fashion show awkwardness that had people screaming into pillows. Because once the public clocked the pattern, the TV appearances stopped being one-off awkward moments and started looking like a full-blown spiral caught on camera, frame by frame, contradiction by contradiction. And this is where it slides from cringe into career damaging. Because when Princess Diana's name enters the chat, everything gets radioactive. Harry sits down on television and starts speaking about his mother not as a memory, but as a mirror, as if history is looping, as if Meghan is reliving Diana's fate in real time. He says the same forces that killed his mother are now circling his wife. Heavy words, nuclear words. And the audience doesn't just feel sympathy, they feel manipulated. Because invoking Diana isn't neutral, it's emotional leverage. And suddenly, people aren't just watching Harry, they're watching the ghost of Diana being used as a shield. And that makes viewers deeply uncomfortable. Because Diana wasn't a storyline, she was a human being. And once you wrap every criticism in her memory, it becomes impossible to disagree without looking heartless. That's when the backlash sharpens. Then comes the oversharing, the way too much sharing. Harry on TV talking about private family fights, frozen body parts, and deeply personal moments that most people wouldn't tell their closest friends, let alone a global audience. The infamous frostbite confession lands like a punchline that nobody asked for. And instead of vulnerability, it feels like humiliation dressed up as honesty. Because there's a line between openness and spectacle, and Harry keeps stepping over it, then looking confused when people recoil. And while all this is happening, there's another pattern quietly boiling public patience: the security obsession. Every interview circles back to danger, threats, fear, protection, taxpayer-funded security. Despite stepping away from royal duties, the message keeps shifting, but the demand stays the same. And on TV, it starts sounding less like concern and more like entitlement. People watch working royals walk tight ropes of duty in silence, while Harry sits comfortably abroad, explaining why he deserves the same protections without the same responsibilities. And that contrast, that's where sympathy dies. Then comes the moment that made jaws drop. The curtsy. Meghan reenacts her first curtsy to the Queen on Netflix, exaggerated, theatrical, borderline mocking. And even viewers who were neutral felt the air leave the room, because that wasn't just awkward, that wasn't just tone deaf, that was disrespect packaged as humor. And once again, Harry is right there smiling awkwardly, not correcting it, not stopping it, not shielding his grandmother's legacy. That silence says more than words ever could. From that point on, every TV appearance feels heavier. The stakes are higher. The goodwill goodwill is gone. Even fashion moments start backfiring. Award shows, galas, red carpets where Meghan poses like it's a runway, while Harry stands stiff beside her, clapping at the wrong moments, unsure where to look. The body language screams mismatch, one chasing spotlight, the other trapped in it. And viewers start saying the quiet part out loud, Harry looks like he's been swallowed by this narrative. Not empowered, not liberated, just managed. Then comes the speech circuit. The word salad. The rambling monologues filled with buzzwords, trauma speak, and vague activism that sounds important but lands hollow. People wait for substance and instead get slogans. And the applause feels polite, not passionate. That's when the internet starts compiling clips, ranking moments, counting contradictions. And suddenly, the title writes itself. Worst appearances, not because they were mean, but because they revealed too much. Because every time Meghan speaks, the control slips for half a second. Every time Harry speaks, the resentment leaks out. And television, unforgiving, high-definition television, catches everything. The Oprah interview isn't remembered for healing. It's remembered for fallout. The Netflix series isn't remembered for love. It's remembered for mockery. The talk shows aren't remembered for charm. They're remembered for secondhand embarrassment. And by the time you reach the final entries on the list, the pattern is undeniable. The more they talk, the worse it gets. Because silence could have preserved mystery. Distance could have protected dignity, but constant exposure? That's what stripped the illusion bare. These weren't just bad TV moments, they were warning signs. They were glimpses behind the curtain. They were the moments when viewers stopped seeing victims and started seeing performers who couldn't stop performing, even when it hurt them. And that's why these appearances don't fade with time. They age worse, because the contradictions pile up, the receipts stay online, and the narrative they tried to control now controls them. That's the final embarrassment. Realizing the cameras didn't betray them. They exposed them. They exposed them. They exposed them.